are you?
Hi, thanks so much for inviting me here. I'm doing well today. How about yourself?
You know, I've been anticipating this guest for a long time, everybody, because Krista Brea is amazing. She is someone that I met in Skool, Skool. Skool is an amazing place, pretty much life-changing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely where all my time and attention is going these days.
Well, I'm going to share something pretty amazing how well this young lady makes it happen. But first, a little more about her. Krista Brea is a self-published author, digital marketing, and SEO expert, and founder of a growing community for aspiring authors. After earning over six figures in publishing royalties, she now helps creators turn their ideas into books and how to successfully publish and market them online. Now that I've formally butchered your bio, so now I like to brag a little bit when it comes to people that kind of excel. And so one of the most amazing things about Skool is there's over 200,000 communities. And you can find different communities based off of what you want to learn, like-minded individuals, common communities. And so when I joined KDP Publishing, and I thought about how did I even find that? I forget. But when I joined it, Krista has set such a really welcoming atmosphere. Like I was welcomed right away, and I felt really good about that, And I don't think it was like a welcome post, welcome to members. It was more someone reached out to me, and it might have been you, it might have been someone else. I forget which. It's been a minute, but since then, you really like to help people that try to make something excellent for the people they're serving. And so with her, it was a no-brainer. And so I am the most active in this community here. And it's called the KDP Publishing Community on Skool. I'm going to give you a quick little show of what that is right there. So if you are a Skool member currently, jump in there. And if you're not even knowing what Skool is, join and find this and start writing some books. You got the best of the best right here. Going to teach you how to do that. And she is successful in doing what she's doing. So the other thing I like to do is I like to kind of know the background, the history of where people came from to be who they are now. I love encouragement. I love to bless people with like a victory story. You know how you kind of like went through all the trenches, climbed the hard mountain, all the things to really show people like what it took to get where you are now. And the cool thing about you is you're not just a one and done. You have a certain target or a goal and that's it for you. No. You are someone that's like, okay, check mark. I got like 50 other things I want to check mark off my list of accomplishments. And so enough about me rambling. Now, Krista, tell me, where did it all start with you?
Oh, well, I'm glad that you asked that question because I don't know. I think I'm a different kind of person. And I read a book once and it made me realize that what I have within me is this drive, this passion to push myself forward. And I had to learn to realize that not everybody else has this in them, right? And so if I'm around other people that are not like on this level of achievement that I am, I just have to remind myself that they don't have this gift and that's okay. So I have to dial myself back a little bit and realize that because I have always just had this in me. It's part of my personality. It's always something for as far back as I can remember that I wanted to do better.
It's interesting. You and my wife Amber would just hit it off like two peas in a pod because I used to procrastinate quite a bit. It wasn't my favorite thing to do, but when it comes to her, she's like, get it done now. Like, don't even think about it. Which to me, I still have a philosophy issue with that.
Mhm.
I don't like to just jump into things and try to figure it out. I want to think about it. So when I do approach it, I'm already knowing my game plan, and most of the time it's successful and I don't waste time. And so when it comes to her, I think God gave me her so she can increase her patience because she's a planner and she wants to know right now how it works, and boom, it's already scheduled, that type of thing. So when you say that, I tell her she has a different gear, a different level, and she has to understand that she's very
Mhm.
unique. And so for you, you're very unique, and I'm glad you recognize that to save yourself some very much a lot of grief, right?
Mhm. And also just to reference that, that was a book that I read called Worthy, and that's it just kinda opened my eyes to that being the case, so
Wow. So how old were you when you started realizing that you're just set apart from others?
well, um oh goodness. Well, I've always been like a diligent student, right? Even in the school days, people would refer to me as like the teacher's pet, or people would think that I was just this like little nerdy Krista, let's copy her paper, and just like kids in
Everybody's
school
like, can you sit
copy
by
my
me today? It's test day. Come on, please.
yeah.
Here's $5.
Right. They're like, "Oh, Krista's the smart one," right? But honestly, being the smart one, it wasn't really something that came easy to me. I had to work harder, but people just weren't seeing that work that was being done. So I would be the kid that was taught the discipline to go home and do your homework immediately to get it out of the way. Like I had to have that discipline ingrained in me to do it. And it wasn't always fast or easy, but like I disciplined myself to be able to accomplish that. Right. So then it appeared that I was like this smart person, but in reality, it was a lot of discipline that was put within me.
Oh, yeah. My mom tried to put that discipline in me, but you know, it was one of those things. But I was the kid. I
Yeah.
prefer the back, middle to back. I never liked the front rows. And I liked windows because that's where I can escape the classroom, which I didn't want to be in, you know? And so my thing was like, I guess this is due today. I had 3 weeks to work on it, but looks like I'm going to have to really make it happen. Otherwise, I get an F or whatever, right? So I'm kind of the opposite of you in that, or used to be. I'm a lot better. I do owe Amber some of that for sure, quite a
Yeah.
bit of it actually. So you were a good student. You listened. I'm sure you helped others, right?
Oh, for sure. Was always helping somebody
Yeah.
else.
And so, like, what was life like as a child for you growing up, and kind of like what kind of things did you have to, maybe some of the challenges that you had to overcome, and to realize that you're, you know what, you can use your superpower of getting things done quickly and being next level because of your diligence.
Yeah.
What, share with us
Okay.
a little bit about
I can go into that. So I think a lot of the discipline that was instilled in me has a lot to do with my grandfather. I was raised by my grandparents, and my grandfather, he at that point was retired military. So he would make sure that like he applied a lot of pressure for me to get up and get things done and do things. And he was always like a very hardworking person, and he still is. And, and I'm going to go visit him later today. But, well, so, yeah, he put that in me. And, I think that's what has helped me. Now, I grew up with some dysfunctional family dynamics, which unfortunately, a lot of us in the United States had some kind of dysfunctional family growing up. And I was very fortunate that my grandparents were able to take me in because my parents were just unstable individuals, very immature individuals at the time and still are. And unfortunately, that was the choice of their lifestyle, to continue to lead a different type of life. And, my grandparents were not ones to hide that from me in any way. And so, I knew right away that they were not the role models that I wanted in my life to have my parents as role models. They were not role models, and they set the bar relatively low. So I just knew that I wanted to accomplish more. And even today, right? Because I'm still in contact with my family, and I still talk to my mom, and she even says to me, "Can't you just be happy with what you have?" And for me, no, because again, it goes back to I want more out of life. Somebody who doesn't see things for a future for themselves feel like, "Oh, you have this big job, you have a corporate career, you're doing these things. Isn't that enough?" And that's where I continue to push myself and excel and move forward.
Wow. So, which of your parents is your grandpa's kid?
My
Number
mom.
Okay. Do you think maybe she also was raised the same way, but she didn't take like you did, and she's like, I'm kind of more different, or what do you think about that?
No, actually, my grandfather unfortunately takes a lot of the responsibility for his children not growing up to be um, contributors to the world because he was deployed a lot or he was always working multiple jobs to support the family. So he wasn't around to give the discipline. And by the time I came into the world, he
And
was
make up for it.
yeah, retired and or like he was working, but he was not working as much, right? So
I see. Well, that makes sense. Well, that's good that you still have a relationship with your mom and
oh
all of
yeah.
that. I'm sure your grandpa's gonna be excited to see you. I'm sure he's very proud of you.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I mean, it's unfortunate. I do live in a different state, so I have to go there and visit him. And unfortunately, he's not been too well. He's 93 years old and he's recently been in and out of the hospital. But, he's still driving and still doing all the things on a daily basis to take care of his home. And, he basically takes care of my mother and my uncle still. So, he has his hands full.
Oh, that's pretty wild. Um, okay, so now you were raised in a military background. You had to
Mhm.
do the things that the military type learning, training type stuff, right?
Yeah.
Which you can contribute to some of the success of what you're doing now. So tell me, like, what was Krista like right out of high school? Were you like ready to jump into something? Were you kind of like taking a break? Tell me
Oh
about that.
my goodness. Do we really wanna go back to that time? Because I will
Yeah, let's
say
hear it.
I I was definitely a nerd. So um I graduated in 2003, and after that, I went to college and I went to a private art school. So my background is in web and graphic design, because that was the type of education that was booming at the time. And I realized that as much as I enjoyed it, it was also difficult to get a job in the field at that time when I graduated. But during those years, I was in between. I was working actually and going to college at the same time. So of course, my overachiever self, I had to do a little bit of everything. And I was also a gamer at that time in my life. And so I was playing a lot of video games in between because sometimes I would be in between jobs or in between school and just like there was a lot keeping me going, that's for sure. But yeah, I wasn't looking back, I feel like I wasn't as mature as what kids are today at 20 years old. But then again, the technology was completely different, right? Like we didn't have a smartphone. We barely had a texting phone, and the games and stuff, the systems were more simple. So,
What was your favorite game to play, or what kind of games did you like to play?
oh, I was definitely playing World of Warcraft.
What? No way, for real?
Yes.
Did you ever play like Warcraft, like 1 and 2, like the RTS games?
No, I wasn't because I just ended up getting into the gaming culture at this time, and this was like one of the biggest games at that time. And then I started playing it, and I thought, oh, I can make these cute characters, and yeah, so
Yeah, that's Blizzard Entertainment who created that, and
Mhm.
I never played it because I knew that if I started that, it'd be hard to not play all the time.
It was rough. It was like thinking about it constantly, right? And you know how my overachiever mind works sometimes, but it would be
Yeah,
like that for the game and then be like, oh, I got to get to this level. Oh, I got to get that thing. Oh, I got to get this title, right? And so it just became like the thing
I
that
still
was
have
safe.
3 more hours before I have to wake up. It's all good. Let me just play it and bust another level, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That would be how it would be.
Wow. Yeah. Gamer. So StarCraft, you ever heard of that one?
Mm-hmm.
So Warcraft, I played StarCraft, introduced to that with my animator buddies and all of that, right?
Yeah.
And then they introduced me to Warcraft, which was an older game, but I liked that genre.
Yeah.
But the StarCraft, I mean, that was something we'd work, and when we had deadlines that we had to stay long, long hours, we would eat dinner, and then we would. Our code word was 3v3 underscore BGH. Anybody? Of course, everybody's in because we had the LAN games, so we all played each other.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it was like those memories are amazing to me. And so gaming's good, but yeah, you have to like make sure you don't get too addicted to anything on that.
Well, I mean, I figured other college students were out partying and drinking, and I'm like having a LAN party, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes in that age,
Jeez.
it's like pick your poison.
Those are always the best though, because first off, you're not going to go to jail.
Right.
Secondly, it's so much fun and there's no craziness. You don't have to worry about, someone rolling up and busting out a gun or a knife or something at crazy parties, people throwing up.
Well, the joke is that I look back and I always kick myself because I am such a big ideas person all the time. And I'm like, man, I could have invented Uber Eats back then, but we didn't have the infrastructure for that because we'd all be gaming. And then so we'd be like, man, can somebody go pick up some food other than ordering a pizza? You know, just like, and I'm like, I could have invented that back then.
I never thought about that back in those days. Yeah. Yeah, because that wasn't even a thing.
Right. No, it wasn't. Yeah, we were just able to order a pizza or maybe a Chinese delivery if they had one in the
Right.
area. Yeah.
Yeah. So a big time gamer. Then kind of like, where was that? Was that
That was in
something
the
you kind
college
of,
years.
yeah. And there was a point where you're like, okay, I need to put this down. Is this focus on other things that I can create?
Yeah, actually, I will tell you this is kind of a funny story and it relates back to that. But you know how I do books today? Well, I realized looking back that I actually created my first ebook when I was gaming, and that became my first digital product, and I didn't
No
even
way.
know it at the time. So, one of the things that I was gaming so much, I actually got invited to be a beta tester for Blizzard for the next release that they did of a video game. And like the gamers get so like jealous of that if you get to become a beta tester.
Blizzard was like the king
Everybody
of the
was
hill.
praising. I had logged a lot of hours, let's just say that. So
We did as
anyhow,
much
so I
developers.
logged like I was this beta tester for this new expansion they came out with. And what I did was I created a leveling guide for when they actually launched it. And then I started selling that leveling guide on this payloads platform of this PDF that I created and started getting sales on that. I mean, there were no like life-changing sales, but that was kind of like the first digital product that I ever put online. And it was just because you know how easy it is for me to want to help others. Like that was my intention to create it. And I put it out into the world and yeah, the guild members were buying it.
That's cool. I mean, that's neat because when as an artist, when you create something, and
Mhm.
we know about books, and so when you see it in someone else's hands and you didn't give it to them,
Yeah.
that's special.
Yeah. Yeah, and it wasn't even like a physical book, it was just an ebook guide because I didn't even know about like creating a physical book at that time. It was just all so new for me. And I just thought, wow, why don't I take this opportunity and I'll make the leveling guide? The guild members are going to benefit from it. And then people started telling people about it. And then pretty soon they just started buying it. And then I've also put it on eBay. And then people started. So yeah, it got a decent amount of sales.
Really?
Yeah.
Like playing video games, making some monies. I mean, how do you go wrong with that one, right?
I mean, it wasn't no life-changing money, but it was like I could order a couple extra pizzas kind of money.
Come on, let's go. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's awesome. So from that to your thought of your first book, what was the time gap with that?
Oh man. So getting into books didn't happen until much later. In fact, it ended up until I became a mom, which was 5 years ago. So not even, and it hadn't even been that long because I think my son was just about maybe 1 years old by the time I started to even learn that you had this opportunity to where you could create a book and publish it on Amazon to sell. So, of course, when you become a new parent and you're like, wow, things are expensive now. Before I just had to take care of myself. And now I have a child I also have to take care of. And when you realize how quickly medical bills and things add up, you need another income in this economy. So everybody knows, like, okay, I need to look for another side gig or something else that I can do. And I remember seeing this opportunity come up that said, "Oh, you can make money with Amazon." And I was like, "Oh, with Amazon? Well, that's a legit company." I didn't want to get myself into some, fly by night thing, right? That was risky, but I was like, "Oh, Amazon, I'm willing to put money on that." So I saw that opportunity and it was leveraging skills that I already knew I had within me, being able to write, being able to come up with ideas, being able to do research. And then also with my web and graphic design background, I was like, oh, well, you can create your own cover and things like that. And I was like, let me look more into this. And that got me curious. And that's when I decided to go down the rabbit hole. Actually ended up hiring a mentor to teach me at the time, like some of the basics to this. And I feel like this is one of the things that is so important that people don't take the next step because they're not willing to invest in themselves. Do you understand like where I'm coming from with that? Yeah. So I think that tends to be a big barrier in a lot of ways for people to get the growth that they need to move forward is they'll see, oh, this is something that costs and there's no guaranteed reward from it. But I reposition that and I reframe it and I look at how can I invest in myself to learn something? Because if I was paying a college to go back to school, there's no guarantee you're gonna get a job just because you go to a college, right?
I've been saying
And
that for years.
yeah, right. And so I invested in, taking a digital course and hiring a mentor to teach me. And as long, I feel like if you go through something and you apply the recommendations, you're going to see the results as long as you're sticking with something. And a lot of it comes back down to um consistency with things. So that's what really got me going. Okay. I went in, I put the money on the table. I'm like, I can do this. I felt confident in at least being able to learn. And then I applied the knowledge and I repeated it and I worked it to my own strategy. And once you find what works for you, that's when it becomes a repeatable system.
Exactly. And you just kind of like build it, think of it, plan it, build it, create it, and watch it grow based off
Yeah.
of how you maintain it. And I think a lot of people have the fear of the unknown. And I think that's
Yeah.
why people struggle with AI today is because they think that, oh, wow, it's going to steal my identity. I think Google's already done that. No offense,
Yeah.
Google, but I know you're listening. And so it's been happening for a long time now. Well, that's neat that you figured that out and you kind of like bypassed the traditional education system. And I think that people have been taught their whole lives for generations now. Oh, you got to do this, this, and this, and then you can work for somebody and retire. Because
Mhm.
that company's around. I've never liked the traditional system, but I never knew anybody in my circle that can get me from A to B and understand how to do that. So when I went to art school, that was a big step for me. But I knew that I had to do something, and waiting tables was not an answer for me.
Yeah.
So like you, well, probably nothing like you. You took the routes that you knew to take, and it led you to one thing to another. So now your first book in, tell me, like, how exciting was that to
Oh,
create
that was
the book?
so when I first created the first book, that was really exciting for me because it proved that I could actually do it. It proved that the process worked. It proved that I could take an idea, act on it, create all the content around it, get my files ready, upload it, and turn it into an actual physical book from Amazon. And so, like, getting that very first author copy was just, it was such a surprise, but also like a gift, because that is what pushed me to continue to do more. And each time I would do another one, I would get better, right? And so you optimize from your first one that you put out into the world, and you just kind of grow and learn as you go.
Wow. Yeah. When I created my first book, um, it was an interesting thing because it was more challenging than I thought it would be because I've done graphics and all the things, right?
Yeah.
But just all the other stuff, the behind the
Mhm.
doors, behind the scenes kind of stuff you have to do to get it. And I think I created my pages for the format in what's called Adobe InDesign.
Yeah.
So I'd learn all that. But once you put it all there and you put it together, and plus I created a what do you call it? Read along, right? And so that was like a
Yes.
review of the book, and so that was more fun for me because I love doing voice acting, right? And
Mhm.
when I was a young dad, and those little babies were they just loved the books, and so when I read to them, I would create little accents for these, the books they would give me they liked the best. Little Critter was one of them, and so that's actually Solomon's voice is the Little Critter's voice that I would use to my kids. And so it was a lot of fun, and just seeing their I love seeing them just like go places. You're creating the world for them. And so
Yeah.
what do you in your books? I mean, you're creating a world for people to see and to enter into and to learn and be blessed from. So
Exactly.
when you did that first book, did you like take a minute to really kind of consider what your next book was, or you kind of enjoyed the moment, or you're like, I got 3 more books, I got to write them now?
Okay. This is a really good question because the first book that I did was purely a passion project, something fun, something that was easy to create, something that could keep my motivation going, and something that I could accomplish within a set deadline to be able to turn out and turn in. Because the idea is when you're creating a first book, you want to keep that momentum going. There's a lot of steps when it comes to publishing a book, but if you're choosing something that you're doing first that kind of holds your interest and moves you forward, then that is a fun thing and you'll get to the finish line a lot faster. Now, with my strategy, I went into this as a money making opportunity. Okay. Like I said, my goal, and I think this is really important for people to understand before you start taking on a book, is what is your goal with your book? So, I knew my first one was going to be a passion project to learn the process. But then I knew the ones going forward were the purpose was to create and sell and make a passive income. You probably can't tell at the moment, but I'm more of an introverted person. I don't want to have to go knock on people's doors and ask them to buy my book. Do you remember the old commercials with the guy that would come on, the question mark man, buy my book, buy my book?
Oh yeah, yes, vaguely,
But
yes.
I met the guy a few times at different conferences.
Really?
Yeah, a few years ago, like he still walks around conferences wearing his question mark suit. But that's not the kind of attention that I want to have. Okay.
Yeah.
So so that's what got me into doing the books. And so my background, my career is in search engine optimization. And what that is being able to research how people find things on the internet. And so I took my knowledge and my expertise in search and applied it to how I look up books and find opportunities. And so that's what I do my future publications on is what topics are trending, which ones are what would be considered evergreen content topics that people search for on a regular basis, and then what are underserved markets, things that there's not oversaturation in. And then I create the books and position them in a way that they can get more visibility because the truth is when you're an independent publisher, you're going up against some bigger publishers in the space that have deep marketing budgets. But if you're doing this research in advance, you're able to find books where they don't have as many books that they're producing or spending money in certain topics. And so I look for those things to publish on and present. And so that's my process and my unique strategy behind how I create a book from the foundation to help it get more visibility.
You should create a school for that. Yeah, you
I mean,
did.
I kind of have a school.
So you did, and I love how they do that. You should create a school for that.
Yeah.
So you went from a few books. Now, tell us about when you did discover Skool. Like, what was that like for you to what your goals were aligned with book publishing, creating the books that are evergreen, into like, what is this Skool thing and how can that help me even be better or create a different revenue stream?
Okay, this is really interesting because honestly, I was happy staying in my lane. Like the books were working for me, my strategy was working for me.
You're like,
And yeah, yeah, exactly. So I didn't even know who this Alex Hormozy was at the time, but I was in a lot of author circles and publishing circles. And one of the groups that I was in at the time, Alex Hormozy was doing his one of his big book launches. I mean, of course, I've got several of his books, but
what?
you
That
got
what you've been
yours.
planning, everybody.
Yep, exactly. So I was in one of the author groups and he came on to the group for like 15 minutes to do a speaking presentation to kind of like hype everybody up about this big event he was going to be doing for this book launch. And so I got on the book launch. Of course, I bought the book. And then it wasn't too much longer after I bought that first book. I'm starting to see all of these ads come up with Alex Hormozy pitching this Skool platform. He's investing all these multi-millions of dollars into the Skool platform. It's a place where you can learn and train people, things like that. And so that's what initially got me onto the platform. And at this time, I was also heavily attending business conferences. So I was traveling a couple times a year, attending different events. And when I would network with people and I say, oh, well, I'm publishing books and I'm making passive income from this, that created a lot of curiosity from people who were already established business owners. And they said, really? I want to know how to do that. And so I started to get a lot of questions around it. And so that's when I decided to open up my own Skool community and start sharing more behind the scenes, more of the process. And so I've had my Skool community for over 2 years now.
So in 2024.
Yes.
Wow. And that's cool because think about that. Like, you're a solution for those that are already established, wondering, like, hey, tell me more about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a curiosity from other business people who have established business because I told them how I'm making passive income from publishing these books and how it opens up another potential revenue stream for them. And they were like, "Oh, well, I've seen other people with books, but I had no idea I could self-publish them," right? And so this is where the curiosity really began because they thought that they would need to hire a book person, right, to like do the entire project for them. And a lot of those book packages come out to be several thousands of dollars. And a lot of people who are just starting up with their business, or even somebody who has a small business, doesn't mean they necessarily have that kind of money to fund that type of
Right.
project.
Right. So 2 years in, and I don't know whoever's listening that, hey, you want to write some books and you want the best of the best, we already gave you the contact information, and we'll drop it in the description, so you'll definitely know how to join this young lady's KDP Publishing School community. I'm
Yeah.
telling you guys, she's next level. Everything she's saying, I've witnessed before I even got to know her. And so, yeah, I want your community to grow in ways that just bless you over and over and over again, because God created you in a way that truly does make things possible for those who don't know how to connect those dots. I came from a small town in New Mexico. For me, like, Disney was a whole different dimension. I had no idea even how to get there. And so when the art school came around, and I was going to go for graphic design, which I didn't want to do, but I figured that's better than waiting tables.
Mhm.
And then as soon as I was entering into that, they're like, "Hey, we just created a course called 3D animation. You guys, would you want to do that?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
You kidding me? Yeah. And so I think when people start to understand what we're in, the time we're in, things become a lot easier because people are more accessible outside of the institutions, outside of the higher learning places. And so when you can offer such like accessible learning where it can affect them within what, a couple of months, they can get the first book done.
Yeah,
If they work on
absolutely.
it, you know. You got to go here in a minute, but I want to ask you, what was the most memorable teaching or moment from your grandfather? And then what has been your biggest reward during your school community that you're like, wow, I did not see that one coming, but wow, that's so cool.
Yeah. So, as far as the biggest teaching moment, or one of the things that I can remember the most, I kind of have two of them, and one of them is like a good one, and one of them is one that still bothers me today. And the one of them that he always told me, he was like, "Just do your best, just do the best that you can." He was never like, I didn't if I was struggling with something, like, I was never really good at math, okay? So math was a struggling point for me, and he would just say, "Well, just keep giving it your best, keep, trying whatever you can." So I never got like yelled at for not doing good, or never felt like I wasn't good enough, It was just like it was encouraging for him to just say, "Keep doing your best," right? And the other
Not so
thing
favorite.
that was not my favorite, and that he would always tell me, and I would get irritated, and I still hear the voice in my head, and I still feel irritated from it, is he would always tell me, "Don't think, no," because I'm always saying like, "Oh, I think this," or "I think that," sharing my thoughts and ideas, and he goes, "Don't think, Krista, no." Like, and it just gets in there, and it frustrates me sometimes, but, kinda like taking that into school. When I got started on the Skool platform, I did not know what I was doing, and I started my group, and I kind of, I was just like, "I'm not getting it." I opened the group, and I tried it for a while, and then I stepped away for a while, and actually I didn't know if I was gonna go back to it. And then what happened was something really unique, and Skool decided to start doing this local event, and they were holding a local thing, and somebody reached out to me and said, "Hey, we're going to be doing this event in Chicago. Do you want to go? And I'm thinking, man, I haven't even really been on the platform in a while. I don't know if I want to go to this. But they reached out to me and I said, okay. They're like, oh, I think like to go, it was like $9. It was some stupid low cost thing to go and connect. And I said, you know what? I'll just go to it. So that's when it really revived my interest in the platform, was being able to connect with other locals and being able to like have a team instead of trying to feel like you're doing everything by yourself. Because in business, my biggest takeaway is, for me, is to have an accountability buddy. And if you don't have that, for me, it's so hard. It's so easy to get derailed and lose momentum for something. So having that has significantly helped me move the whole group forward, just to have people to connect with and talk to, especially people that you could meet up with on a regular basis and discuss strategies with. So that has really helped me take things ahead. And now, like, the growth is accelerating and I'm learning so many more ways to like keep motivation going for everybody in the group.
Yeah, that's awesome. It shows for sure. And Skool is such an amazing platform because they're not okay with, here it is. They're okay with like, hey, let's make it better. And so, well, I know you're running out of time, and so therefore, I'm grateful for that you came on the show here. I want to put all the links in there, and I want your Amazon link as well, so people can maybe buy your books, those kinds of things.
Excellent.
And, yeah, and so again, thank you so much. And Krista really is, she really is next level when it comes to your Skool community. So it's just a great place to go to. And appreciate you guys. Until next time, thanks again.
Thank you.